most respected venerable sirs, and all vice president and all dignitaries from different regional center of WFP. I'm very honored today that the General Secretary has organized this very inner group of WFP members and to ask me to give me a special lecture. In fact, I'm very honored and I don't know what to say because all of you are the expert on Buddhism as well. Whereas I am, to be honest with you, I don't have any Buddhist degree at all. My academic background is very anthropology, and my looking at everything is very, very different as I'm trained as an anthropologist. So even when I look at Buddhism, I did not look at it as a Buddhism as a religion. So my view towards Buddhism or towards whatever I see, I have a different eyeglasses, I guess, because that is who am I as I train as an anthropologist from prestigious university in the West. So I don't know whether it's right for me to come and talk about Buddhism to the whole organizers of the Buddhist organizations here. But anyway, I don't know who thought about this session. I guess I have to thank General Secretary and Ms. Pochaman. I think they have, I don't know, whatever they are talking, and it came out to be this kind of lectures. Because if you really ask me directly, I think I'm not ready to give these lectures or to share whatever I'm going to share with you today. Because I really honored every one of us here are the stakeholder of Buddhism. And in that sense, I'm just a simple Buddhist monk living in a temple, doing my work as a lecturers. But of course, my lecturer, being a lecturer myself, I guess that I have a little bit of privilege in that sense, that I have been invited in from the top of the society, from the lowest of the society in a sense, because I have been giving lectures not only in Buddhism, but I have been invited, I always get invited from different stakeholders of the world as a business group, the administration, the government, and even the UN and the UNESCO, whatever. So that's one of the only strength I can claim, that I don't know what I talk, but people tend to invite me to give lectures on so many different topics until I sometimes ask myself, who am I? I always think that I'm a simple Buddhist monk, but the topic which I get to deliver my lectures in different places is sometimes nothing to do with Buddhism at all. I lectures on business for all the CEO of big world corporate of the world. Not only Asia. I was invited in America to give lectures to all the 1,500 CEO of the big companies, which companies are generally being new from their products, which most of product, of course, I don't use it because it's too costly and they don't have the monk's product, I guess. All the Gucci, Louis Vuitton, what do you call this? Louis Vuitton, and all those big brands. The CEO of those, they are interested in something. I don't know why they are interested in talking of lectures of the simple Buddhist monk who doesn't know anything about economy. I was invited by the United Nations to talk about the new economic paradigm to all the leaders of the countries. Again, I was surprised why they invite a monk whose economy is every morning go for arms round. That's the only economy I survived. But the United Nations invited me to give this kind of economic lectures for all the leaders of the country in United Nations itself. It's at the time of the Ban Ki-moon. So, that is one of the privileges. That is something that you might have a different than myself. So through my life, I have been traveling around and then giving my view on different topics as they always ask me to give. I teach law, of course, which is again totally different things. I was kind of regarded as in Thailand one of the reputed law scholars, although I never studied law. But I teach law in the university students. And then I have for my first year student, I have a lot of students. Just this year, I got about 900 students studying law. And I teach law, of course. You see. I teach, of course, about psychology. I teach about development. I teach about, until I always think that who am I to be able to talk all those things. But I guess that is all about Buddhism. That is all about Buddhism. I could imagine, I could summarize. Why I am able to give very notable lectures in those crowds, although I am not one of those crowds. Why I can talk on the business. I was once on the stage with the president of IMF, International Monetary Fund. You see? So in a way that, and I was debating with him with capitalism and anti-capitalism. We are kind of playing a symbol as on the stage to all the businessmen in Spain. And to be honest, what happened is that after our debate, of course, you can guess who is the winner. Even the president of IMF finally admitted that I think I should join your monastic group. So, this is something, a strong point, I guess, that we have to learn about Buddhism, and then sometimes we forget about who we are. We are, of course, very esteemed personalities here who regarded as the representing each country. And then we are the facilitator in one way or another. From the outside, they may look at us as we are the president, we are the chairman, we are the who and who, big guys, big-headed people. But what we do actually is facilitate our group, facilitate all the Buddhist communities in order to gain sort of a Buddhism or Buddhist idea. But I guess it is sometimes very, very important for us to reflect back upon ourselves. And that's I always do, is that whether we really know Buddhism or not, or we are investing Buddhism for some kind of a benefit. I'm sorry that I'm very straightforward. I'm sorry that sometimes my speeches are bitter than sweeter. But as an academic, so I look at the things very differently. And of course, when I look at the things differently, it is not only my view. Of course, this is my view, but I gather this view from a lot of evidences. To be honest with you, when we think of our organization, WFP, it was the very first organization of Buddhist community in the world. Of course, every country, they have small or bigger community association of their own. The problem of having an organization is that sometimes all those Buddhist organizations it just looks like, if a two Buddhist organizations, if a two Buddhists come together and join together, you will have four different opinions. That is the reality. We say we are Buddhist, but when two Buddhists come together, we'll have four ideologies. We have four different ideas. And we'll fight against to win over those ideas. So, what happens is that instead of having a harmony and instead of having a unifications, we divided on each small, tiny other things. This is my group. This is Theravada. This is Mahayana. This is Vajrayana. This is Korean. This is Japanese. This is Mongolian. And we forget what we are talking about. We are talking about Buddhism. We shouldn't have any nationality and any country, anything. It's just a humanity. But as long as we identify ourselves, we started to have this idea and cling onto this idea: Buddhism, Japanese Buddhism, Sri Lankan Buddhism, Thai Buddhism, and totally we forget about what is the main cause bringing us together. I guess that was the very beginning, the seed of this idea. Professor Malarasekara from Sri Lanka had it in his mind at the time. Because being under the British colony, I guess that he got this idea what future would like. So that's why he, in a way that he prevented, in order to prevent those ideas of separating as a Buddhist. Because we can see, it is not a criticism, but we can take as example that what happened to all the Christian different groups. England and Irish, for the two different same Christian group, they fight together, they kill each other. Sunni and Shia, they kill each other. So all those religious groups, even in the same God, even in the same principle, even in the same name, but they fight each other for their own stand. I guess the Malarasekara was very, very afraid and very, very wary conditions about that. He didn't want to see that Buddhists are fighting each other for their own community. It was a very unprecedented idea in religion to have this unification of Buddhism as one. One Buddhism. One Buddhism. But throughout our development of our world, in the beginning, in 1950, 27 countries came together, and everyone came there with a very, very humble and sacrificial ideas. They forget their countries. They forget their society. They forget their community. They were together for the Buddhism. They were together for the cause of Buddhism. But when we go back to our country, we started to have our value put back in again. It's fine. It's another wrong. It's fine. But in a certain gatherings, we should have this kind of a unanimous harmony organization as Buddhism, as one. And this is unprecedented in every religious history. We can be proud of that. And in the beginning, I guess that it served that purpose. But coming back to our age, this is now going to be 70 years. Next year is going to be 70. So it's not even 100 years. So I just want you to really reflect back. Does every one of us have that original value of WFP within our mind or not? I guess that there are some here who was from the beginning of the WFP, like Professor Tan in the beginning, and there's so many. But I don't know whether we still keep that spirituality, that ideology, that blood of unification of Buddhism or not. And then how, if we still keep that, how we are maintaining that sort of ideas. So this is the basic kind of idea I want to throw among all of us. Because what I see, I'm sorry to really bring it on this table. Since my involvement with this esteemed organization, sometimes I just feel that, what are we doing here? Every one of you spend a lot of money. Tickets and airfare. And what we come here for 2-3 days or to any places, we are talking and discussing about all these bureaucrats, all this about the paperwork, all that about who is going to be the member, who is going to be the chairman, who is going to be the president. And then we have all different committees, and all those different committees are trying to just come and share what you do in the name of committee. And even, I don't know, the whole idea of when I see it together, I don't see, have it developed to be a humanitarian group? Have it developed to be an interfaith group? Have it developed to be, I don't know, so many things. So, who we are as a Buddhist, our ideology of Buddhism, our understanding of Buddhism, where we keep it? Do we keep it in the altar? Do we keep it in our books? So this is something, it's always reflected me. So, there is one scholar, actually, I'm sorry that I have a little bit of mess with my PowerPoint here, because I was just doing it this morning. Where is it? Okay, this is this should be the first. This is a very, of course, very renowned professor on Buddhism, Professor Richard Gumrich from Oxford University. He is a very great scholar in Pali, in Sanskrit. And he has a very, very own voices on Buddhism. He never claimed that he's a Buddhist, but his book and his work has been, all his life is all about Buddhism, and very provocative, very clear, and sometimes very, very challenging to the Buddhist ourselves. Because he was once a chairman, president of the Pali Text Society as well, so one who translated Tripitaka. And then when he referred this and that, he always referred back to the Tripitaka and the Pali. And he said in one of the interviews given a few years back, I am not a Buddhist, but I have very much admired Buddhism, and especially Buddhist ethics. I am not a Buddhist in a technical sense. In one way, you could say, I am more of a Buddhist than most Buddhists. How dare he claim this? We are referring ourselves Buddhist, but now he is challenging that he is more Buddhist than ourselves, where he said that he doesn't believe in Buddhism. He's not a Buddhist. I believe that the Buddha was an intellectual genius and had some extraordinary interesting things to say. This is something that most Buddhists simply don't take any interest in. So it's really pinched my heart. It's really make us, it's like using a very big hammer hitting our head. He's another Buddhist. He claimed himself that he's another Buddhist. But he, of course, through his work, through his teaching, he teaches Buddhism all around the world. He go to the China to teach Buddhism. He go to all different places in Taiwan to teach Buddhism. He's a main man in the Oxford University, developing a lot of curriculum there. And America, wherever, he goes everywhere talking about Buddhism. His earning is from Buddhism. And a lot of his money he spent, his earning, half or nearly 75% of his earning, he put back in the, Oxford Center of Buddhist Study, which he developed. And he tried to get some help from all Buddhist countries all over the world. Nobody helped him. Because everyone said that it's very important, it's so good and so good. But financially, for Thai, they prefer to build a temple more than the academic field. And every one of us here, we call Buddhists, but we hardly pay much attention in academic field. And this man, I don't know, he's doing all this. He said that whenever I see him, he said that until I don't know how long I can live. Now he's already nearly 80, how long I live. But he has given all his earning to keep that Oxford Center for Buddhist Study, paying for all the scholars and the students to come and study Buddhism in Oxford from his own pocket. And of course he go travel around, and whatever he get from his lectures from different organizations, different university, he put back in that organizations of Oxford Buddhist Center, Buddhist Study, you see. So, but we can't forget about what he do. That is his part, and then we admire what he do. But the thing is that is very hurtful is that his words, it's really make us hurtful. We call Buddhists, but he is saying that we are not Buddhists at all. He said that there's a lot of interesting thing in Buddhism, but the Buddhists are not interesting at all. You see? So this is something very important as a Buddhist organization, I guess. This is a big challenge. He is really hitting us. So, in that sense, we have to think of a lot of things. So that's why I was just a few months back, I was kind of complaining to myself actually. I didn't want to complain to anybody. I was kind of saying that in unofficial conversations that as a WFB, we should do something. We have lost our original idea of what Buddhism is all about, and we haven't developed anything on that. We are so busy organizing our organizations, the structure of organizations, who is who. But in terms of our own knowledge as a Buddhist, how we are going to deliver a message of Buddhism to someone who is really interested in, or how we can develop the idea of Buddhism as one Buddhism among us. And this sort of idea become very clear when earlier of this year I was in Vatican. I was invited in Vatican. And I was invited in a certain this is a conference room in the Vatican itself. And this organization is something very, very strange, that just something like a very organization as WFP. they go, this is a centennial of the Holy Pope or whatever, I can forget the real name because it's in Latin. But the organization is that it is a Catholic lay organization of the world. World lay Catholic organizations, or something like that, just like World Buddhist, World Fellowship of Buddhists. And they work. These organizations, all members of the organization is just like their esteemed personality, dignitary here. They are businessmen. They are ex-politicians. At the moment, the chairman of this organization is the former governor of Bank of Italy. So every members are in all over Europe. Most of those members are very rich, very influential in their society. They have a political background, they have a social background, so and so on. All are just like, I guess that just like every one of us here who has a lot of baggage behind. And they do have that. And their idea is to, they say that to implement Christianity, the Pope, and to serve the God. This is a very Christian value, of course. To serve the Pope, to Christianity, and especially to serve the God. So, every year what they do is that they have agendas. They want to have agendas, whatever it is. And they invite like a big AGM, just like what we do. And this was their AGM. And then it is pure Christian gathering. It is pure Christian gathering, all elite Catholic gathering, not a Protestant, of course. And they are, the head of this organization is the Pope Francis himself. So they work under the Pope Francis. And whatever the Pope Francis said it, directed it, they will implement it. So as the Pope Francis go and say some kind of speech in somewhere, and they will follow to make it happen. You see? So these are the kind of just lay organizations just like us, where we are talking about so many different things, but I see them, they are so goal-oriented, they know what they are doing, they know what they want, and they have to someone to look up. That is their Pope, or their what do you call this, whatever it is, from the order from the Pope himself. And this is all Christian. And then I was invited by this organization. Why? I don't know. I guess some influential people, they talk about me. And then the chairman of this organization invited me alone as a Buddhist monk. So I was very, very alien to this group. And this is very inner kind of a group. And because they do conference in the Vatican itself, and then to go through the security, everything you have to clear. And everyone just look at me and then, why you are sitting here? You are Buddhist monk, of course. And then why you are sitting here? This is a Catholic gathering. And everyone come and ask me. I said, I don't know, you go and ask your boss. Because your boss is the one who invited me. And basically, what I saw is that they have this AGM, and what it is that they have this all the ballots, elections, and everything. But everything did in half an hour. It's just for nobody knows that what's going on. They said that when it's time to ballot, they just go and put their vote in front, in order to choose the new members or whatever. But before that, all the agenda is already done online. I don't know where. But they gather 2 days there purely for intellectual entertainment. You see? They spent, everyone, I asked them, how much you pay? Oh, every one of each of them, they paid 600 euro, 1,000 euro just to come to attend that. But what they did, when they did is that actually nothing apart from learning. And the one day, the first day, when they asked me whether I would like to sit in or not, because that is very inner thing. Just only their members. And they will have their official bearing and whatever it is. I said that if you are not objection to you, I would like to just to sit there. And they said, oh, fine. They just let me sit there. And that's what I saw. They said that they just organized, and this ballet is not even the 10 minutes. But all other thing is they have done their work behind the scene. And on that day, they bring one of the archbishop from the Vatican, very influential archbishop, to give a guidance to those inner group. How should the organization lead? What is the present sort of challenges? What is that? And then he was giving all those kind of supervisions to all those members of their lay Catholic organizations, or lay organizations. The whole day they have 2-3 speakers giving their what is the agenda, what should be done, and how Christians should respond to such a problem, and so and so. See, it was inner, so they were shocked that I was there, but their mind is very open, so I was there. The second day they open to the public. Second day they have more people come, they open to the public. Of course, everyone who come there, they have to pay a very high fee. It's not like us, everything free. But there they pay every single individual who come to the lecture, they pay a lot. And in return, what they got is that they invited big scholars from around the world to give them sort of ideas, what is going on in the world, what is the issue, what is the agendas, and how Catholic should develop whatever response to them. And it was open to the public. So every member bring their friends and family and so and so. And the third day is that very important, is that because they paid a lot of money. I guess that's the only one thing that is my presumptions, that because they have a private audience with the Holy Father. So that's why people are so much, they are willing to pay. But thing is that everyone come and listen. Everyone got that sort of idea of want to learn. That's the one thing I noticed. And similarly, I remember the late former Supreme Patriarch, who is my preceptor, of course, Somdet Pranyana Sangwan. Under his auspices, we established the World Buddhist University when he was 84. When he was very young, something around 8 years ago. At the time, Mahamukut Buddhist University or Mahachula Buddhist University is not there. Of course, there was a university, but it was 136 years they started the university. It ran for a few months and for a year, and it's closed. So it was 8 years again. His Holiness, the former His Holiness, was organizing their meeting, this kind of a bureaucratic meeting, and then he was talking with another friend, who is again one of the main personality of WP, Suchi Punyanubha. This room is under his name actually. This Jnana Sangwara and Suchi Punyanubha are good friends. They were talking, because they are very young monks at the time, and they were talking that we monks, we learn a lot of Buddhism and Pali and so and so. But we don't know much about what is outside world. We don't know much about the science. We don't know about the business. We don't know much about the law. We don't know about the politics. So in a way that when we give lectures our lecture is so concentrated in Buddhist Dharma alone, and for people it's very difficult to chew. So these two young monks thought that it would be very nice if we can bring some lay scholars from different fields and then bring them to let us give some of the ideas of different fields. That was the original idea, these two young monks. And that is how the Mahamukhi Buddhist University started. Because when they talk about that, and when they go and ask the Supreme Patriarch of the time, and the Supreme Patriarch of the time, they said, a very good idea. Why not establish the university after all? And that is how university started. Because for the Buddhist scholars, we sometimes know only our subjects. But in this world, we have to live with other fields. And then how we can get those knowledge is, of course, asking them to come and share the knowledge. So we don't have this hierarchy as I am the big scholars, I am a Buddhist monk. And then I see this is happening again with the Mind and Life Institute of His Holiness Dalai Lama, or one of the organizations they are doing. They invite all scholars from the science, brain specialists, psychologists, and then come and debate with the Buddhist scholar. This is happening in so many venues here and there in the world. But when I flash back and see our organization, what we are doing is that just a paperwork. So that's what I thought that as a part of our conference, we are not erudite with everything. We need to find time to fill up a lot of knowledges for us as well. So in a way that we can able to adjust with the Buddhist idea and then to sort of develop new Buddhist idea. So this is the organization. They did it. Like this man they invited is the chairman of the, what we call is, the whole idea behind the SDG, Jeffrey Sachs. He is a professor in Columbia University. He is the whole kind of machine man for the idea of the sustainable development goal of the United Nations. But I knew him from a long time already. But yeah, they invite him to give the idea of what is sustainable development for the oldest Christian group. And because the Pope, they say, this organization said that Pope gave one speech called Laudato Si. It means that Pope's view on the world agenda. And the Pope, this present Pope is Francis, he's a Jesuit, so in a way that he's a scholar. So his way of dealing with the things are very different from previous popes, previous Santa Papa. So what he said in the Laudato Si, his kind of a main speech said that the idea of we are living together in the world, we can't take the idea that, before it is always big problem for Christian world is that everything is created by the God. Human is that we have a right to consume whatever God created. But at the moment, resources are getting decreased, and in a sense that people are having a lot of problem because of consumption, overconsumptions, and they can't take this idea of a God created everything for human beings. So this present Pope Francis, came with this idea that, of course, God created everything, but God also said that every one of us are responsible to take care of the God's creations. They say that care for creation. You see, the new idea came up, which is in the Bible there wasn't at all. But in order to respond to what is going on in the world at the moment, so this Laudato Si, this Pope said that the care for creation. So this Pope Francis is very, very sort of a new idea he's giving. For example, a lot of new idea. Sometimes he even refused God. in some of his speeches these days. So not only that, he said that care for creation, of course, but after all, whatever we are doing in this world is that everything what God created has a link to each other. So what he was saying that everything is, he used the same word, interdependent. It is cannot stand by itself, it is interdependent. Of course, when he speaks in the Catholic world, it is a very new thing. Wow! But look at us. Isn't that our word? Isn't that Buddhist thought? But do we use that? That is a crucial Buddhist idea. Everything is interdependent. Paticca samuppada. Because you have this, because of that. Because of that, because of this. But now, Catholic world, they are using the idea, the same idea, and telling all the Christian world that everything is dependent on each other. So that's how we have to look after each other. Talking about ecology, talking about sustainable development. And when I was talking, the Pope asked me to talk with a few archbishops in the Vatican. Because they got this idea that World Buddhist University came up with this new idea about sustainable development goal. So they want to know what is it. Whereas in our community, it is just a new idea. Good. And Dr. Yo is always saying that it's good, that's all. But somebody heard that, and it went to the Vatican, and Vatican want to know what is different. What is my ideas about that? So he commissions main archbishop, 2-3 archbishop, to have a personal meeting, and then ask me, what is about your conference? What is about what you find out? And then when I say that actually sustainable development goal, what we are talking at the UN is actually, it is the first sermon of the Buddha, etymologically, because sustain, S-U-S, sus, is from below, the Latin word, and tener, it means that uphold. And whereas, same as the word dharma, dhara, from the Pali means an uphold from below as well. Because chakka in the Pali doesn't mean that will. Chakra etymologically means moving forward with a firm ground. So basically, the word sustainable development is Dhamma Chakra. It's the first sermon of the Buddha. So when I explain to those archbishops in the Vatican, everyone is, what? Is that right? So I explained that, look at the etymology. This is not my argument. This is based on the etymology, how it works about. Because if we translate sustainable development as a normal English, it is an oxymoron. It is a paradox. Because development means change, and sustain means not change. So what do you mean by changing or not changing? Development, if you do not change, you don't call develop. Development means changing. But if you want to say sustain, it means that you don't want to change. You want to sustain the way you are. You want to maintain the way you are. So it is an oxymoron. But if you go to the etymology, then it makes sense that it is a kind of development upholding in the firm ground. It's a balancing. It is a dharma, you see. The development with the dharma, or the dharmic development. That is all about the spirit of sustainable development the UN was talking about. And they invited me just to pick my brain for that idea. So they invited me all the way. I'm the only Buddhist. And they invited me to this Catholic gathering because they want this idea. How Buddhist knowledge has developed today, you see. And I was there, and I'm doing this because I'm not keeping as this is a Buddhist idea, this is Buddhism. But I thought that if Buddhism or Buddhists didn't use it, if they want to use it, I say, why not? Go and use it. Because after all, the result will be, we will be happier in this planet. So I don't care whether it is a Buddhism or a Christianity. If they are willing to use that, I say that more than welcome. And then I was so shocked with this speech of the Pope himself that everything is God created, whatever God created has interdependency in it. That is a very essence of Buddhism. But when we talk about this, we become Abhidhamma. When we talk about this, we become yawning already. But that is a crucial Buddhism, Buddhist knowledge, which doesn't have any color, doesn't have any nationality, doesn't have any sort of religious affiliations. That is a akaliko. Basic, it is a universal idea. And other religions see that. So I was also invited, because I was invited in this group, so I was also invited to have a personal audience without single paying, of course, because most of them pay a lot to go there. And I have to really admire them. Instead of they put me at the back somewhere, they put me along all the hierarchy of priests. So, I don't know. They put me in the last or the first, I don't know. But whenever you can look at it in the first row, they put me in the first row. Although, I was not there, then I was not whatever, I was just regarded as their guest, but they put me in the front. And then, I listened to the Pope's speech, and he's the one actually, governor of the Bank of Italy, former. Now she's the head of that organization, just like our honorary meeting. So she's just like that. And she has a great power all over Europe, because all these are from all over Europe. And every one of them are very rich and prestigious people. Then, of course, Papa gave a speech, the Pope gave a speech, and then took commemorative pictures. This is actually in his personal audience hall, audience rooms. And then everyone got a chance to go and talk. And this is when I was asked to go and talk, and the Pope has been briefed, who am I, and everything. And when I went there, I just thought that just doing the Christian gestures, shake hand. But after shake hand, the Pope immediately joined his palm and he said, thank you for all the way coming all the way to this conference. And then I immediately have to respond by this. And these pictures become a very sort of iconic pictures, I was told. And these pictures have been spread in all Christian Catholic news and Catholic associations, Catholic organizations all over the world. Mutual respect within each other. And many Catholic, when the Catholic Association in Thailand, when they see these pictures, they were shocked. They come and ask, they try to get in contact with who am I? And then I said that, how can you get this access to the Pope? And then why this picture is so much spread, because sometimes they have a very high monk from Thailand, like the Supreme Sangha Council and so on, so there have been many there. The leader of the Buddhist organization, but never had these pictures so publicized like these pictures. And we are exchanging about what? About the sustainable development goal, which they found that it is very important. And the Catholic world, the Pope, in his speech said that sustainable development goal is not possible without religious engagement. You see, he said it. So, Let whatever the United Nations doing, let them do. But our part as a Catholic world, I ask every archbishop, every bishop, every Christian, all the Catholic churches, parishioners, all over the world, be the leader of sustainable development. Care for creations. All the whatever creation God created has interdependency, so try to hold each other. This is the message given by the Holy Pope to the Catholic world. So it makes me sometimes very jealous, sometimes very sad, that we got a crucial idea. We have our knowledge, of course, you see. This is Buddhist knowledge, for goodness sake. Interdependence is a Buddhist knowledge. But we are using that knowledge, limiting in our text, limiting in our Buddha's monk's sermon, and even the monk's sermon we don't quite get what it's all about. But there is a different religious organizations using the same idea to spread all over the world and to save the world. So should we jealous, or should we congratulate them, or should we ashamed of us? So these are the main lot of ideas is always get in my mind as one of the someone who is working on that. Just this Sunday, United Nations General Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he was accepted as a Secretary General after the Ban Ki-moon beginning of this year. And he was here in Thailand for the ASEAN Summit for 1 day. He arrived in the early morning, and the same night he left. And on that day he met the Prime Minister, he met so and so, but I don't know who organized this, so I was informed that he wanted to come to Wat Pho. And he came to my temple, and then all the security, all the preparation group and everything, they said that His Excellency got 20 minutes with me, but asked me to entertain United Nations, the Secretary General, for 20 minutes. He will be in Wat Pho exactly at 5 o'clock, and then so I should entertain him about 20 minutes. I said, no problem. But as he came to temple, so I thought that I am just a simple monk in temple. It's not so nice. To honor him, I asked the abbot to greet him and then accept him, but after that, I will handle those things. And so of course, he came, and with all his show around the temples. I love during the guidance tour, I talk a lot of other things, and mostly one of the thing I talk about him is the our conference, what we did for the Sustainable Development Goal with the World Buddhist University. So I said that, Your Excellency, do you ever realize that actually what Your Excellency is doing as a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, it is oxymoron? And then he didn't get that first because he's a Portuguese. What do you mean by that? I said that it's a paradox. It doesn't go over together. Development is change and sustainment is not change. So what do you mean by Excellency, that Sustainable Development Goal? And he just laughed. I never think about it. Yes, you are right. Then I said that, actually, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goal in a different way, it is a crucial teaching of the Buddha. It is the first sermon of the Buddha. And the United Nations Secretary General he knew about Buddhism in a certain level. He knew about Mahayana Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism, idea of Bodhisattva, everything he knows, he was talking about. So it was everything is limited in 20 minutes, but I guess that the one who organizes, the lady behind, who is the head of the UN in Thailand, and the Secretary General himself didn't want to go back. So we spent altogether nearly, I think, 50 minutes. From asking for 20 minutes, but we end up discussing about this 50 minutes. And this is very important that he was now given this idea. Is actually sustainable development is the main message what Buddha has taught for 2,500 years ago. So the United Nations is very, very slow in working. We have been working 2,500 years ago on this idea. The United Nations just pick it up now, and 600 years later. So I got a letter email from his secretary, his one who is contact, said that she is coming to see me to talk about this and collaborate on this project later on. At the moment, she is back in the to New York for 2 weeks on a conference, and once she get back, she wants to, because the Secretary General is very keen on that, so we are going to have a collaboration on this idea. Again, if we talk from our Buddhist point of view, we would be proud that this is a Buddhist idea. But again, I want to say that deep in my mind, I'm not saying as a Buddhist. I'm presenting as a human. I'm presenting as a human. Just like in one of our conference in China, I said a similar thing. The public charity, I think the topic was at the time. And then we have very esteemed scholars and Buddhist monks from China who is giving a lot of evidence that what they do from each organization is temple for the humanitarian act. Building this school, they help the poor and so and so. But when it was my turn on the stage, I said at the time, remember that, I very admire every venerable who did this work for the sake of people. But this is not Buddhism. This is a humanitarian job. Whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist, you have to do it. But as a part of Buddhists, what you do more than that. That is something that we are lacking. That is something that we have to understand. When this natural disaster happens, we open our mind and help. Yes, we have to do this. But not as a Buddhist alone, but as a human. It's a humanitarian job. But on top of that, what can we do? That is something we have to think hard. That is something we have to think hard. So that is why, I guess that this is what Buddhist knowledge really matters. So, His Excellency, as soon as got back in New York, he tweeted on his account to all over the world, thanking me, thank you, Venerable Dr. Sakya Wongmisut, for moving and fascinating visit to Wat Pho Niwan Vihan Royal Buddhist Monastery, a contemplative oasis, so central to the rich history and culture of Thailand. So he admired. He got the message. Now it is our job to really carry on and push on, not only to the United Nations level, but in our real organization level. So this is something what I think as a Buddhist knowledge. One important thing at this moment is that we are in the destructive world. I guess that everyone read and hear about destruction. It is very strong. We can't avoid that. The technology is moving so fast. Like Japan, Taiwan, all those Korea. The technology is so fast that the technology from yesterday, today is obsolete. So new technology come out, which wipe out all this old technology. But that is the word in terms of technology. But the whole idea of a disruptive technology or disruptive world is something that the way how we change our world, the way how we develop the world. Before we go slowly, gradually, and they say that the Maslow theory is that we become multiply, but now not multiply anymore. Now destroy and come with new ideas. In one of the conference, they are talking about disruptions, and they are all the expert and disruption technology. So when I was invited there, I said that, sorry, do you know who is the first disruptor in this world? This is a very new word here. When I asked that, sorry, do you know who is the first disruptor of the world? And they said, yeah, this is a new word. I said, sorry, you are too late. The first disruptor of the world is the Buddha himself. Because Buddha destroyed whatever the situation of that caste, the freedom, the kind of race, the inequality, whatever it is, and he didn't have anything from the ground. He just come up with a new idea and destroy all this, what he calls Brahmanical idea, the Jain ideas, and give a new idea of the Sangha. At the time they don't have the idea of the Sangha at all. It's the first time in the world they have the idea of a Sangha. It's invention of the Buddha. Brahmin doesn't have an idea of the Sangha. Jain didn't have an idea of a Sangha. Later on it is said that even the Christian community copied that idea of the Sangha from us. It is well written even in the Christian books. So it was an invention. It was a disruptor, the Buddha. So in this modern world where everyone is talking about the disruptions, everyone talking about the world is unchangeable, but actually we have been taught from the beginning of the Buddhism that everything is impermanent, everything is transient. Whereas disruption is for everyone is new, but I said that, sorry, it is not new anything. But how we use that idea to tackle with the present situation, that is our weakness. That is something we really lack of. We are bombarded with these ideas of internet. They said that in the internet, in an internet minute, 1 minute of internet, we were bombarded with so many information. Look at that. In 1 minute of internet minute, 1 million log on of Facebook. 18.1 million text sent in 1 minute in line. YouTube viewer 4.5 million videos are watched in 1 minute. And look at this, Telenet, Google and so many other things. 41.6 million messages sent through the SMS. So this is the world at the moment. So I'm asking, as Buddhists, where are we? I'm asking, are we one of the victims of this system? Or you want to be a master of this system? At the moment, we are victimized. We are victimized. That is all about what? That is all about the lobha, the greed. This is a power of greed. And we also fall into the same power. Okay? So in that sense, what we do at the moment is, I guess, this is an interesting data I just presented to you here. Last night, I just Googled it. When I Googled it, word Buddhism, imagine there are altogether 212 million results in the web. Looks like a lot. But when I type the Islam, it is 1,300 million websites of Islam. In Christianity, a little bit more than us, 298 hits or 98 webs are there. So Christianity and Buddhism, in a way that in the web, we are very equal. but we're still very, very far away from Islam. So this is the one way to look at what are we doing as Buddhists. Of course, by the populations, we are less. We have something around, at the moment, it's 530 million Buddhists all around the world. But it's not only 530 million, but we know that technology, we can spread whatever the message we got it to this world easily. And even, the Islam, we know that how hard, how difficult to deal with the things, they have been not only outside, but even in the internet world, they are much, much ahead of us. 1,300 millions. I narrow down the ideas, and then I see that what is the idea of a Buddhist? And very surprisingly, the idea of a Buddhist is more than the idea of a Buddhism. 221 million websites, more than 212 millions of the word Buddhism. So it means that it shows that the notion of Buddhist is very much important among us. So again, I want to look at it from a very different perspective. It means that Buddhism is more important or Buddhists are more important. If I read this, whatever it is, that it is silly data in the Google, it means that it sounds that the Buddhists are more important than Buddhism. So that's why I'm asking from the beginning, as organizations, do we care about Buddhism or do we care about the Buddhist organizations as a Buddhist? And this is something, this silly statistic show very different. And again, I went a little bit special topic, Buddhist study. And alas, it's only 37 million hits. 37 million hits of a Buddhist study. So in a way that I'm still glad to see this. It means that the Buddhist study is growing. Buddhist study is going Buddhist study is very, very specific topic. But this data in the internet shows that it is growing because it was able to hit 37 million results out of 212 million. It means that it is something. Again, disprove what? Disprove that Buddhism is a religion of wisdom. Buddhism is a religion of study. Buddhism is a religion of education. Because if you go and an Islamic study and all those things, they have less. They have Islam-wide big. But when you come to the educations, they become less. Because that is another problem I want to jump onto this idea of what do we mean by religion. Because this is another big problem among us. What do we mean by religion? What is religion? Because religion by dictionary, every other dictionary says that the belief in and worship of a god or gods or any such system of belief and worship. So if we define Buddhism under this definition of religion, does it fit or not? Because I try to sort of expand the idea of religion in many ways, but I can't, because by this definition and by the way they use in the world, they are used in that way. So that's why Buddhism is always in dilemma. I try hard, and the most I can put the definition is this three way of putting the religion in the most, trying to avoid all these kind of negative ideas. So I can see one is a substantive definition, which means that focus on the content of substance or religious belief, that is God. So all the theology, all the Abrahamic religion, all with the God and even with the ghosts and so, it categorized on this. So this is called religion. So when we compare this, Buddhism is a religion or not? You see, this is sometimes very difficult for us. But if we took on the real understanding of Buddhism, leave the culture behind, then we can say that Buddhism doesn't fit there. But of course, Buddhism as a global process, Buddhism as a global product. What happened is that the global product got into Japan. If the Indian taste doesn't fit with the Japanese taste, even the Indian curry, if you go to Japan, you will have a Japanese taste of that curry. Although it is in India, all the spice in everything will be reduced to whatever is Japanese flavor. So that is the nature of the world. McDonald's in America and McDonald's in Thailand is the same franchise. By the law, it should be the same formula, but no, because we have different tastes. Coca-Cola in America and Coca-Cola in Thailand, of course, have a different taste. Because in Thailand, they have a heavy sweet tongue. You see, Coca-Cola here is more sweeter than what you see in it. Although by the law it said that the formula has to be the control, but not, because that is the product. Same as Buddhism. When you take Buddhism as a true global product, which doesn't have a cover, which doesn't have a taste, which doesn't have it is a kind of a universal idea. But the universality cannot always use in everywhere. The universality will be that if you go to Japan, it is Japanese. Even in the Thai Buddhism, even in the Sri Lankan Buddhism, they are not a true Buddhism, to be honest. Because Buddhism, true Buddhism is always only in the text. Because Buddhism here has already mixed with what we call is the belief in the spiritualism, all the superstitions. Buddhism in Sri Lanka, likewise, mixed with the Hindu, and there's all this spirit as well. Buddhism in Burma, mixed with the net and all this animism. And that is not something, we don't have to be scared of, but that is the nature. We have to know, because that is how it makes sense to their people. Fine. But at the same time, if you are talking about universalism, if you are talking about humanity, we should have to filter those things. Keep the culture, ritual, ceremony as it is, because it will make sense. For the Japanese colleague here, you will go through all the Japanese ceremony. Oh, it's so elegant. All the monks' robes, the style, the harmony, everything is so elegant compared to Thai Buddhism. Thai Buddhism, same robe, never have a colorful robe. And the same style of chanting. Even the monks come, they come in all a different way. We don't have that kind of very civilized and very everything is go like on the stage, on the stage. But in Thailand or in Sri Lanka, no. We have free. We are free being. All the monks will go wherever they want to sit, wherever they want to stand, and they then sit in the row or whatever, which is completely different from the Mahayana Buddhism in the Japan, in the China, in the Taiwan, in the Korea. You will have that sort of a very, very strict with how you sit, how you stand, how you make all the line alignment, and the pictures come out so good. But it doesn't mean that Japanese Buddhism, in that sense, is better than the Thai Buddhism, or Thai Buddhism is better than Japanese Buddhism. That is the outer case. But what we deal about Buddhism, what we talk about the Buddhism itself is more important. But when we really search on that, you will find that that is actually one Buddhism. We are talking about the same thing, but different languages, different culture. So, this cannot be a Buddhism. So functional definitions, again, some of the Buddhism, some of the religion is defined by its functions, its psychological functions, its psychological impact among the society. You can see that some of these Hindu and Chinese rituals, they can pierce their tongue or whatever, all these funny things. They can do that because of their faith, because of their belief. And again, is that a Buddhism? Buddhism, does it fit in these definitions? Again, not. Although, of course, there is some element of faith. But if we really go to the original Buddhism, Buddhism basically is a faith destroyer. We shouldn't use the faith for Buddhism at all. The saddha, what we translate in Pali, is not a belief, unfortunately. But we use as belief. Because belief means you don't know. Belief means you are unaware of. Because do I have to say that I believe this is a remote control? If I don't know what it is, then I have to say that I believe this is a remote control. But when I know this is a remote control, where is the belief? I know for sure this is a remote control. That is what all about. Buddha means that knowing. Buddha means that you know for your soul, for sure from inside of you. It's an education, to be honest. In the process of education, you might put all the data inside of you from all these different 5 doors, eyes, nose, and everything. But when it comes out as your understanding, it is yours. And you don't have to believe. I don't have to believe that this is a water. I believe that this is a water? No, because I know for sure this is a water. And then what will happen if I take this water? I know for sure. So I know. So that is a Buddha, you see. Basically, Buddhism is about knowing yourself. It is nothing about believing. But religion, the main aspect of religion is belief. That's why we fall into the trap. We say, I believe in Buddhism. It's oxymoron again. It doesn't fit. Because Buddha means that knowing, and belief means that not knowing. Belief means that is stupid, to be honest. So, stupid knowing doesn't make sense. Stupid means that we don't know anything. So you just take for someone's words. But Buddha means that you have to know for yourself. And that is actually what we chant every day. At least in the Theravada, I guess that this sort of chanting also exists in the Mahayana Buddhism as well. One of the chanting is that Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Santitiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanaiko Pachatan Veditabo Vinyuhiti. What does it really mean? Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo means that whatever you do with a good intention, that's called dharma, the dhamma. Sanditiko, it has to have a function, it has to have a character of Sanditiko. San is that yourself, Ditiko, see. You can see for yourself, not taking my word, not taking the word of the Buddha. Sanditiko, Akaliko is beyond the time factor. It means that it's a universality. Even the science is not that true, because science is always under the condition of time. Once we believe that the world is a flat. Second, we say that the world is a circle. We believe that this is a H2O. Because that one I have to say I believe, because I don't really know. I've never been to the lab and see that how hydrogen, 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen join together and these 2 kind of different air become this liquid. I don't know, I never see that. The science become a religion. You see? The science, now whatever we refer to the science, because we don't know, and then we say that science say that. But Buddha says that there is no such thing as water. Buddha said there is no such thing as water. Because in water there are so many other elements, whatever you want to call it. So the science said H2O, if the science develop more than this idea, you may come up with maybe A, B, C, D, I don't know how many words, I don't know. But at the moment, we have tools to just to realize that it's H2O. Agaligo, it's a universality. Ehi Pasico, ehi, come on, Pasico, look at it. Because it is self-understanding, because it is beyond the time factor, so you can debate on that. You can challenge anyone. Come and look at me. Come and look at the teachings. Whatever debate, you can debate it. But if you keep on debating only, it's a fun for your debating, it's become a philosophy. I don't know, there are many here, maybe they are philosophers, good at debating and winning the debate. That's what Buddha says, that Buddhism is not philosophy. Buddhism has to be open like eco. Whatever you debate, whatever you talk about, it has to be practicable. You should be able to practice it. You should be able to put into your practice. And paccatang veditabo when you hit it. If you practice yourself, you will know the result of it by yourself. Not because the Buddha said it, not because I said it, not because you said it. You will know for yourself. Just like when I take a sip of this water, how I feel. I know for myself, you wouldn't feel that. You wouldn't know that. How elaborate I am, how good language my language is. If I try to explain how I feel it, it wouldn't be. Just like if you drink a sip of your water yourself and you will immediately know how you feel that. That is the dharma nature, what Buddha explained. So therefore, this is something big problem whether we call Buddhism a religion or not. Based on the Western idea, because before we don't have this, we don't need that idea of whether religion or not. As an Asian, we are not debating whether it's a religion or not. Very Western idea to explain and trying to identify whether religion or not. Because the idea of a religion here, basically, it has a different meaning. Okay, I think I missed the slide, one more slide. The word religion is from the word sasana in Pali. Etam buddhana sasana. And what is sasana means that? Sasanam kileseti sasana. Anything which can purify your mind is sasana. Do you see? And our mind is not purified, our mind is polluted by the defilements. The lower, the greed, the hatred, the delusion. So anything, what you do, which has an impact to reduce that level of the greed, the anger, the delusion, that is Buddhism. Do you want to call it, it's a Buddha's word or not? Doesn't matter. Because Buddha said that whatever he taught, whatever he teach, it is not his. He said that the truth which is already here, his job is just to point it out for you. He never claimed that all his teaching is own. He said that that is a natural truth is already there. And his job, what he did is just point it out to us. So, that is all about the Buddhism. And this is how Buddhism has developed. If you talk about the development of this, what you call it, 4.0 development, and so and so. When we offer this idea of the religion, this world, there is one very interesting book called To Comfort and to Challenge. I'm talking about this role of religion. And role of religion is that in many of our religions mostly it's comforting. Like Christianity is comforting. And God said that, oh, God will forgive you, God love you forever, and so and so. It's just comforting. Most of religion is that we are always in trouble and we need some comfort. And the religion came out of that. But Buddhism is not comforting religion, to be honest. Buddhism is challenging religion. Because it challenges us, it challenges our understanding, it challenges whatever we have been believing in. So this is something, I don't know, as a Buddhist knowledge, we have to be really keen on that and see what we can learn from Buddhism. But we are good at comforting. Very admirable. Yesterday I heard that from Venerable Tomatsu that yesterday there was a ceremony for tsunami. Yes, that's a part of comforting. We need that. It doesn't mean that we don't need. We need that. But that is another real essence of Buddhism. Do you know when in Thailand, when you have this, whatever you do, making for the dead, I think you have seen that. You will go and put the cloth, the rope, on the piece of cloth which is connected with the dead body. And then once you put that, the monk will hold and chant the word, Pali word. Anicca vada sankhara upada vaya dhammino upajitva nirojanti desan upasamo sukho. And everyone thought that, oh, the dead will get that. Since when the monk have to do the job of a postman to the next world? You see? That is comforting. But if you realize what the monk chant, then you will be shocked. What monk chant is that anicca vada sankhara. All the component things are meant to be impermanent, meant to be break down. Because everything is composed, so it will decompose. It's natural. Anicca vada sankhara upada vaya dhammino. So every dharma, means that everything, it has a component and it's arise. H2O become water, is combined. But if it is the nature of arising, it is a nature of ceasing as well. Nirujanti upana. Upada vaya dhammino nirujanti upadanti. So in a way that, so if the water can come out from the H2O, so water also can dissolve as the H2O. So once you know the reality, tesang upasamo sukho, once you know the reality, please calm your mind. Doesn't say that rest in peace. It said calm your mind. So for whom? It's not for the dead, it's for someone who is alive. He said there's no point you go and cry and weep and say that, oh darling, oh dear, you are the longest. But no, Buddha says that there's no point of crying and weeping. There's using that dead body as a lesson for you to understand about the impermanency. You see, that is a Buddha. That is not believing. That is knowing. And once you know that, it is, you can hold your sort of mind. Not victimize and then cry a bucket. What can you do? No, the cry doesn't bring that dead back. Even the dead back, then you will run away. You don't like when you don't want the dead to come back. If you do and pray something, if the dead are you really love me, come up, then you will run away. So it's normal nature. So, and that is what Buddha taught, you see. This is about Buddhism, about how we survive, how we solve the challenge. So as a belief system, what we need? As a belief system, it gives us identity. We are talking about Buddhists here. We are talking about world full of Buddhists. We are talking about organizations. You see, give us identity. But this identity also gives us false view. Because once we say we are Buddhists, we are already differentiating from the Christians, we are already differentiating from the Islam, we are creating who is not Buddhist. It means that we are already starting the fight. Identity, if we use it wrongly. And religion, it's also said that in some positive way they said it's unite, of course. Unite for what? Unite for division. We unite, we are Buddhists all together. So what about others then? We are separating ourselves and dividing others who are not Buddhists. We started to have organization our own like a WFD and so many others. And throughout this, 60, 70 years, and we see that the role of the World Policy of Buddhists is already taken by many other organizations, to be honest. We have MCU Mahachula doing every year Vesak, International Day of UN Vesak Day. And they can do it even more influential than the WFP what you do. There have been 80 different universities around the world, I don't know how many countries and so, and big, big celebrations and unifications. But symbolically it's very good. But substantially, depression. We spent millions of baht for that. Government pay for that. But very good pictures. Every picture is so nice. We have all different color of robes, all different kind of priests come together as a Buddhist, as a one Buddhism. But in the essence, what? So this is something we have to think about it. We have many organizations coming up in our friend here, China. They are doing Buddhist Forum, very influential. World Buddhist Forum. Not less than what the UNDP or United Day of Vesak did. Again, bringing all Buddhists into one platform. So this is the spirit of the WFP originally, but we can't do any more like that. There are some other new organizations, they are doing that. In Japan, Nenbutsusu, which is sometimes not even recognized in the Buddhist world. But they are doing, again, to be recognized as a world organizations, everything through the money. Everything, they can buy it. They can invite anyone, buy big, big fat envelope. But the pictures is so good. The book is so nice. And they are, next year I think, I heard that they are doing again, they are opening, they said that Nalanda Buddhist University. Huge, majestic. Sort of, they said that, what they say that as a Muslim has a Mecca, Buddhist, the Christian has a Vatican, but the Buddhist doesn't have anything like that. So they are creating a Buddhist Mecca, a Buddhist Vatican in Japan. Very good idea. But is that something the Buddha wanted us to do that? Where is the Buddhist Mecca? Do we have to go to the holy places in India? Do we have to go to the Lumbini to remember of the Buddha? Whereas Lumbini is just recovered in 1899. Buddha Gaya, where Buddha enlightenment was just founded in 1831. But now everyone is saying that we are following the Christian or the Islamic way. We have to go once in a lifetime. Yes, I really admire one to go there. But what you learn from that? It is called Sangvedaniya Sthana in Pali, in Sanskrit. Sangveda Sthana in Pali. But what basically means that it is any places which can urge the knowledge of impermanence for you. That is what Buddha said. So if you are here, if you go to see in the hospital, you see that someone is dying in a coma. And it's really urge you that, oh, the life is impermanent for sure. Yeah, that is already done the work. You don't have to go through the India, and you go all people to India and come back and say that poor thing, those India are so poor, look at the beggar and those. Oh, that is what we mean by poverty in the time of the Buddha. That's why Buddha was enlightened. You see, we are using all the wrong reasoning. If you want to see the poor, you can go somewhere in the counter here in Bangkok here. It's more poor than those in India there. No. It is about the awakening. It is about the Buddha. It is about the knowing inside of us. That is something which we really talk about. And again, we talk about the belief system, then there is art and architectures. Of course, it's very important for cultures and our identity again. You have a Thai art. Just recently, in 2 days in the social media, there is a big bombarding about the Prime Minister of Thailand now. Because in the ASEAN summit, and there is from this year from Thailand, they are going to Vietnam for the next summit. So they have a symbol of what we do is sending a flag. They send some symbolic hammer. And what happened is that one who bring out the hammer on the stage from Thai side is a Muslim guy. It was a Muslim girl with a Muslim attire. So everyone is asking, Thailand's culture, where is the Thai culture? Where is the Thai sort of a race or Thai? What is the Thainess? Now you are bringing the Muslim girl with a Muslim attire representing Thailand to send over the next summit. It's a symbol, but it's a very, very important message. Now in the social media, everyone is talking about it, everyone is saying that why Thailand is going to be a Muslim. Worse than that, in the Ministry of Education here, Muslim campaign until now, they are going to have Al-Quran as a textbook in every primary school. Whereas we say Buddhism Thailand is a Buddhist country, 95% are Buddhists, but there is nowhere they put the Buddhist curriculum as their textbook. Now they are going to have Al-Quran as their textbook for students. So, as a Buddhist, if we talk about identity, if we talk about organization, what we do, what is our role? I'm not asking to fight, but we have to think hard. If you are really care about organizations, but if I say academically, I don't care. I said academically, whatever they do, it is again, it's nothing which can beat our teaching here anyway. So this is the medium of God, whatever. Whereas as a knowledge, as a Buddhism, which is actually Sikha, means that the knowledge, Tri-Sikha or T-Sikha, which is basically Buddhism is about knowledge, education. It's about talking about the human. How to be a normal human being, how to be a perfect human. We don't care about God, whether it exists or not exists. Leave it in the worldly world. We don't go and disturb the God. So, human is important. And the message is always universality. We don't care what you do. We don't care what you believe. In America, I teach in the Jesuit University. And it is one of the class in the university which is very popular until the university says that one of the very money-making course of the university. Because when they announce that Venerable Anil is teaching in this semester or this quarter, 15 minutes my class will be full. 35 of them I can't take anymore. And so until university asks me to, can you open more classes, because it's making a lot of money for this day. Therefore, when I ask them, why these people who are the most Christian come to study religion, Buddhism? My course is on Buddhism. And the Christian father with the Christian priest, Jesuit priest, he said that, Anil, why? Don't you know that? The people come to study Buddhism because Buddhism is not a religion. And his course He's a Catholic priest, the Jesuit priest, and his course is already extended time and time. No one has signed up for him. And he sometimes said that, Anil, can you help me? I said, what? Nobody come and sign on my class. In your class, everyone's coming. Can you really, tell your student to come and take my class instead? Because your class is full. And then I said, why? Because they say that they never took Buddhism as a religion. They said that when Christian study Buddhism, they said that they make a good Christian. When the Islam or Muslim, they study Buddhism, it doesn't convert them to a Buddhist, but make them a good Muslim. And that is a word I heard from the father. I heard from the Christian priest. So this is what Buddhism is all about. So but sometimes we cling on to Buddhism so much until we don't want to share with other people. Again, when we talk about the Buddhism, I guess that it is something nowadays, the religion has a very negative connotation, as I said. So now we are talking about spirituality sometimes. But again, spirituality is another right word. But spirituality is, if you look at the definition, it has a more alienating, it is a more kind of close to what Buddhism is all about. So, but I say that Buddhism for me is a universal knowledge, which can change you, which can transform you to something is better. Now, jump to something else. Because of being a universal knowledge, and what you see at the moment is that this is a new thing. In England, there are 370 schools in England is funded by the government of England to teach mindfulness and meditation as a part of their curriculum. So again, it's really hit us very hard. We got Buddhist country, and we don't have those kind of a curriculum in our schools. What went wrong? In Thailand, 95% Buddhist. In Sri Lanka, 70-80% Buddhist. In Myanmar, about 70-80% are Buddhist. But in all the secular school, we don't impose our religious teaching. Whereas they are not Buddhist at all. But by the government funding, they are introducing mindfulness, another name of Buddhism, in their schools by public fund. In America, in the West Coast, nearly all the West Coast, they have similar courses in every schools. Now, schools without those courses is difficult to survive because every parents, they want to have their kids go to those schools, those curriculum. So this is something, again, as a Buddhist organizers, as a Buddhist organizations, when we responsible for organizing all our Buddhism in our country. Do you ever think about that? Or we are happy with organizing small seminars, small talk in our center, giving us small teaching and running small classes. Are we sufficient with that? Or do we do something? We need to do something. I don't know. So that's what I really challenge you. In Oxford, they have developed a different level now. In Oxford University, they have an Oxford Mindfulness Center for goodness. Whereas we have in Buddhist temple here, they have a Sun Vipassana or the Vipassana center. What do? You go and meditate. Listen to the boring lectures. And meditate. Whereas in Oxford, they go Oxford Mindfulness Center. What they do? They teach you everything what Buddhism all about from very different way. Very scientific, very challenging. But in our country, we say the Vipassana or meditation center, delivering everything very dull, boring, and I don't know. Look at the what they say. Mindfulness is moment-to-moment awareness of one's experience without judgment. As the Oxford Mindfulness Center, our mission is to reduce suffering, promote resilience, and realize human potential across the lifespan through mindfulness. What is this phrase? Isn't that Buddhism? Isn't that what Buddha says? Tara charata bhikkhave charikang bahujana hitaya bahujana sukhaya lokanukampaya. It's the first word Buddha assigned all the monks, that once you go out in the world for the benefit of the many, for the happiness of many, in order to empathy the suffering what they are going through and help them. Why it's become this Oxford Mindfulness Center's motto or the aim of their course. Whereas we talk about it, we chant about it, but we never materialize as a course to train people. Okay? Look at the mindfulness is a therapeutic technique that can help you manage and prevent feeling of depression, stress, anxiety, or discontent. It enables anyone who practices it to live a more attentive, appreciative, and vibrant life. In Thailand, at the moment, there's a big news. Suicide rate is increasing in Thailand, following in Japan. Japan is the #1 country in the world about suicide. Korea too. Now Thailand is following. Big problem. And whereas in the West, they use Buddhism to solve that problem a long time ago. They got cognitive behavior therapy, cognitive behavior for the stress, MBCT, and whatever, all those they have developed as a real knowledge from Buddhism. But we are the owner. But we are getting anxiety and stress because of holding on to that. They don't hold it, but they use it. But we hold it so tight, but never use it. Now we are having this problem. Look at their mission of statements. Our broad mission is to reduce suffering, promote resilience, and realize human potential across the lifespan through combining the ancient wisdom of mindfulness with vigorous contemporary science. We work actively to make the benefits of mindfulness attainable and investigating new ideas. Our research is focused on preventing depression and realizing human potential across the lifespan. This is Western Oxford University, for goodness sake. Every word they use is a Buddhist word. Everything they do is a Buddhist, but they never call themselves Buddhists. And they were able to solve their problem, social problem. And that is what I said that we have to really think about it. That's why we say that religion is only believing is wrong. That is in Thailand. So I already said this because the word sasana basically means that the words that taught or the words of teaching worldly being and deities, or the last one is a teaching which purify our minds. So if we take that pure definition of religion, then we'll know that it is not about Buddhism as we understand it. It is something which can make our life a quality. I guess my time is running out. I wouldn't touch on to this one. Actually, I have something very interesting to show here, but I think I don't have much time. In this one, I just want to show that how this is one of the thing I learned from. This is my class in America. Okay. This is two courses I offer there. One course is about Buddhism, religious study, and another course is that Buddhism and globalization. Is an advanced course. And I have those students a lot. Very packed. I'm allowed to have only 35 maximum, but I always exceed it. Because some students come and cry, please professor, just let me in, just let me in. And then I said that, what can I do? I am a compassionate one. I am a Buddhist monk after all. I said, okay. And there's all this university administration will be complaining about me. You shouldn't take more than 35. But what can I do? So these are my classes I do here in America. And in one time, I asked my student to, I gave one assignment for my student about life of Buddha. Of course, those are the Christian. And then one girl, one student of mine, her name is Ingram, she came to see me in the office and said, Professor, I don't want to write an essay. I don't want to do this assignment in writing. I said, well, if you don't write, it's a 20 credit, you want to get A. So what do you do? And she said that, no, actually, I hate writing. So if you don't mind, I can send some other works. I said, what do you want to do then? Because it's an assignment. She said that she likes drawing. Can I draw? I said, oh, go ahead. So when I say that drawing, and then when the time due, this is what she came. A legend of the Buddha, and in American versions I call it. You see? This is the modern version of the story of the Buddha, a man who's teaching a part of one of the major religions in the world, Buddhism. The Buddha was born into Sakya tribe located in the foot of the Himalaya mountain in Nepal. He is the son of the Buddha. And this is, then he says that these are the what? Okay. Then, you see? Then the girl, right? It is a warm and peaceful afternoon in the Shikya cliff. Because she doesn't know what is Kapila Vastu, what is, and she doesn't want to relate with that. She wants to make it her, close to her life. So her village is called Shikya Cliff, a private, well-to-do neighborhood in suburb. You see? In one of the house, a young woman named Mahamaya lies sleeping in her bed. She is tired from working all morning at the office. As she naps, she has a strange dream. Because she doesn't know about the king or whatever. He says he's American. So she imagine in her own American way. Mahamaya finds herself in a grove of trees. The air is sweet and with the song of birds, there is a cool breeze. Suddenly a beautiful white elephant comes down from the sky. It drifts close to her bed. At the next instant, the white elephant was entered her sight. This is still, I think, a normal Buddhist story, as we are so used to. Okay? And look at her drawing, so cute. Now, before she can let a little streak of surprise, Mahamaya wakes up from the dream. She sits up in the bed, trying to catch her breath. Visions of the white elephant are still fresh in her mind. Why would she dream of a white elephant entering her sight? A few days later, she finds out that she is pregnant. Mahamaya realized that her dream was a sign that she will give birth and that baby will be not like any other. Look at her very keenness, you see. Even the boy, they have the elephant as a toy. Elephant as everything is related. And when the baby is born, Mahamaya and her husband Suddhodana invite the neighborhood for a baby shower. And the naming of the baby little boy is named Siddhartha. This name means wealth and luck. Mahamaya and Suddhodana also invite some of the Brahmins to name him in the couples of religion, and this is again the color. Second, then he says that he and Mahamaya decide that they will protect Siddhartha from the unhappy things in life. If he does not know about these things, then he will not want to seek the truth about it. Then what happened is, so Siddhartha, who is nicknamed Sid, who named him Sid by his friends, grows up with everything a child could ever want. His parents give him his own television and DVDs. He has a radio set as well as a portable CD player. because this one is about 10 years ago. If he's now, they got an iPhone, iPad, whatever it is already. Okay. Sid is also a popular. The other children think he is the greatest because he shares all these things with them and never laugh at it. He's also quite talented as a young boy and everything. And look at his toys. Even in the kite, there's an elephant. And so as time went on, comes a young boy and he married and so on and so. But then one day he sees 4 things that change his life forever. Sid is walking in the park with his best friend Peter when he sees a sick child. You see? Then he sees an old man. He also sees a dead person being carried away. Sid asks Peter about these things. Why has he never seen them before? What do they mean? Peter turns away at first because he is ashamed. In the end, tells the truth. All people get old, all people get sick, all people get die, all people, this pain is a part of personal life. And so that's how he went on and then tried to leave the palace. He saw the one homeless, and he became a homeless as what he sees, left, and become homeless. And why he became homeless? He is so hungry, he doesn't know what to do, and a small girl, small lady, who is on her way to school, see that he's poor thing, and he gave a Tupperware of his sandwich. You see? And so he ate the sandwich, and then got a split with his friend, and tried to go and find somewhere to sit. So he went to Central Park, and this is the where the Tupperware. She's carrying a Tupperware container. She tells Sid that she has brought him food because her family has seen him starve. So in a way that went to sit at the Central Park, and at the Central Park, what happened? The Mara came. Who is a Mara? Mara is a drug dealer. He said that you don't have a right to sit here. If you want to be a rich, come and become my devotees. You go and sell the drug. You'll be rich so fast. You don't have to stop like this. And Buddha says that, no, I have enough. I don't want to be rich. And if you don't want to be rich, you don't have a right to sit here. This is my place. This is my area where I sell the drugs. Now, you have a fight with the Mara. You see? This is very American way of thinking. And then all the drug dealers came and tried to scare him away. And finally, there's some competitions, and then that's Prince Siddhartha win. And then finally, he realized that things are always the birth and the suffering and so on. So he become greed and hatred and everything, and he become a Buddha in real life. You see? Then I gave this girl, this lady, A+. Because if we took our traditional value, we say, why, how can she do that? But I see that message is, everything is there. But it is just make that story so American so that every other can read it and then get the same message. And this is how Buddhism can be a universal, you see. We don't have to be a Buddha, a Nepalese or Indian. You can have a Taiwanese Buddha, you can have a Korean Buddha, you can have an African Buddha. I wouldn't mind. Although I'm considered as the Buddha's relative, I wouldn't mind. I think my heart is open enough to take that Buddha to become and naturalize to your own nation, to your nationality. And that is how free about Buddhism is. Okay. So what I'm talking about is that sometimes when we say Buddhism at the moment, we always talk about Buddhism with big B. But the world, they are talking about Buddhism is presented and taught in the West without mentioning the rank of Buddhism. That is what's happening. So we talk about the B as Buddhism as a big B all the time. But in the West, it is not anymore.
Hi everybody,
So this
my
is
name
one
is
of
Susan Kaiser,
my colleague, my friend,
and I'm here
who
today
teach
to talk to you about
in
what
many
I
schools
mean
now. She's
when I
teaching
ask
now
kids
the
and
teachers.
teens to pay attention
She's
to
now
what's happening
trainer
right
of the
now.
teachers
Because
not
sometimes
enough
they
teachers.
understandably get confused. They think that paying attention to what's happening right now means ignoring their past and not taking care of their hopes and their aspirations for the future.
Her name
And that's
is
not the
Susan
case at all.
Greenland.
My childhood is very much part of me. as much a part of me as the bones in my body. And my hopes and my dreams for the future, they're very much part of everything I do and say too. But what we mean by paying attention to the present moment is meaning that we don't get distracted by our past or preoccupied with what's going to happen in the future, but we really can rest and enjoy what's happening right now in the present moment. So that can be a complicated thing to explain to kids and teens. But a student of mine in Singapore showed me something she did with this apple, which I thought was very helpful, and I'm going to share that with you. See this apple? This apple got to my hand because of the efforts of a farmer, of truck drivers, of grocers, of moms and dads who brought it to us to eat and enjoy today. That's all the past. It's all very much part of this apple I'm holding right now.
When we talk about past in our language, it's so loaded.
Well, if you cut into the apple, you see these seeds. There's some seeds in the apple right there.
That is the future.
Well, that's the future. And it's completely embedded in part of the whole. So the past and the future are part of the whole of the apple, all together, all interconnected. And the now, well, here's the apple right now, and I'm planning on enjoying it. I hope you'll enjoy it too. I'm going to take a great big bite of it. So that's the thing with mindful awareness. It's past, present, and future, all wrapped up into one. Thank you.
Before invest, they have Jesus called mindfulness. So I was with her and many other colleagues who is a leader of this, and always argue with that. I said that your mindfulness is not the same Buddhist as mindfulness. We have totally different ideas. And then your mindfulness is not complete. And after debating for a long time, and now they are using the word mindful awareness, not mindful alone. Because mindful by the Pali, it just means that memory, you see. But memory you have to validate at the present moment. That is called sampajanya. Sati is a mindful, is memory. And it's always go with the sampajanya, means awareness. Otherwise, whatever, how much memory you got in, if you're not bringing out to the present moment, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, whether you have memory or not, it's the same. But once you're able to bring it at the moment, that is the sampajanya, that is a part of the prajna, the wisdom. And when I explain to these now, they are starting to change the word, not only mindfulness anymore. Now this is, for example, her is the one starting. She's trying to call mindful awareness. That is a sati sampajanya in the Pali. It's kind of holistic. So this is how people are using the ideas.
Hi, I'm Susan Kaiser Greenland, and I'm here to talk to you today about the clear perspective that everybody is born with.
Clear perspective.
We're all born with this clear, calm perspective,
This is about meditation.
like the water in this glitter bowl. And look, if I put the ball in front of me, I can still see you. Can you see me? That's the clear perspective we're born with that's not clouded by the events of everyday life.
We are born with that ability.
With the stress and strain that we have of life, everybody I'm working with, they're under a lot of stress. The kids have a lot of homework, a lot of after-school activities. These things tend to cloud our perspective. See? Can you see through clearly anymore? You can see through a little bit, but there's still things in there that cloud our minds. So we take time.
Breathing.
We feel our breathing. We rest. And look what happens. All those things that were clouding our perspective, they settle to the bottom. They don't go away. They're still down there, but they're not clouding our perspective anymore. So if this is what happens with the stress and strain of everyday life, what happens with negative emotions? Like the green glitter in this ball. Let's say that that's anger or jealousy or envy or frustration. Negative things, they really cloud our perspective. So much so, you can't see through it all anymore, right? But the same thing is true. If we just take the time, feel our breathing, rest a little bit, those bad things settle to the bottom. Now, have those negative things gone away? No, they're still at the bottom of the bowl. I wish mindful awareness could get rid of all of the bad things in life, but it can't. But what it can do is it can help us clear our perspective so that we can see our inner and our outer experience clearly with kindness and with compassion for ourselves and for other people.
So she's the author of this book, The Mindful Child. And now she has another two publications already after this. So these are the kind of knowledge, I guess, that we have to really think, and as a Buddhist, what we can use it. So when you talk about a Buddhist mindfulness, a Buddhist mindful awareness, then it means that a Buddhist mindfulness is one of the key Buddhist messages recently universalized and developed as a must secular education of Buddhism without being, you see. This is how the world is taking Buddhism. And as a Buddhist, we are not interested in. That is what Professor Gumbrich in the beginning said. There's a lot of things in Buddhism. It's a genius. Buddha should be taught in everywhere in the world. Not as the religious founder, but as an intellectual genius which can give a good idea for people. Can you believe me? Can you believe me if I tell you that in the next 2 weeks I'm going to Iran? I'm going to Iran. I was invited by the government of Iran because in 2 years back, the proxy of the supreme leader of Iran came to Thailand. And then I don't know how they learned about me, and they asked me to meet me. And so we had a meeting with the ambassador and everything in Iran. And then one thing, after 1 hour of discussion, this leader of the Iran asked me that, is that possible, Venerable, if in Iran University you can run the Buddhist course on Buddhism? And I said, what? Do you really mean that? They said, yes. Because I think we lack this other idea in our country. So I said that, okay. But when I talk to the other colleague in my university, everyone says that, you're a man. Why are you going to Iran? If you go there, you won't come back. I said, don't worry. I died in my duty. So you see, that I will have very negative idea, but they thought that it is something. So this next, and on the 22nd, I think, I'm going there, and then I have a talk, see that what can we do. Because we go a lot about America, so I'm going to, somebody warned me that if I go to Iran, the America won't invite me again. I will be, in the blacklist, but I said that, so be it. If they blacklist means that they lost, not me. Because if they want my brain, okay. So this is something everyone wanted. This is how they teach in America.
So everybody remember what mindful awareness is, or what mindfulness is? It's paying attention to what we're doing while we're doing it. Pick up your pinwheel and try keeping your belly soft to blow the pinwheel. Nice, slow breaths.
This is how they
Good
meditation
job.
in America.
Oh, good job with the soft belly breathing, guys. Okay, so we're remembering that starfish do an awful lot from their center, from their middle. You're going to take a deep breath in while you're rolled on your side, and you're going to exhale and roll on your back and stretch out all your limbs like a starfish. And when you get that teddy bear on your belly, just notice the feeling of the teddy bear. See if with your soft belly breathing, you can move that teddy bear up and down. Let's move that attention, your attention up your body a little bit more into your back. Let's see everyone in your best standing mountain pose. Soft belly breathing. Listen for the drum. Like a drop until we find our center balance.
That is a Dharma, central balance. So ask them to have this very concentrate on the drum.
Good job, everybody. Let's try to open up our chocolate as if we're in slow motion. Can you hear the crinkling of the paper? And let's just try not swallowing, but moving it around in your mouth with your tongue. Noticing what it tastes like. Mindfulness is noticing what we experience while we're experiencing it without labeling it good or bad. I'm only paying attention to my breath and the feeling of the soles of my feet against the floor.
You see, what we do, everything is
I felt like I was on the cloud, I was walking, and then after a few moments when we turned around, I felt like I was in water. I felt like if my grandmother was with me in the ocean or something, because I felt her arms around me, and like, because I miss her very much in heaven. And I also felt like I was on a slow treadmill just walking. I felt like that I was relaxing and I was by the ocean and there was nobody else there to bother me and nobody else there. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday that you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Good job, everybody.
So do you feel kind of calm now? I feel kind of calm. I feel kind of calm like this water. See how when we settle down and watch the breathing, we get kind of calm like the water. Now I'm going to do something to the water. Look at this. Whoa, can anybody see through it now? It's all cloudy. That's kind of like when we are not calm, when we get all agitated like this. And when we're not calm, we've got a lot of thoughts and emotions going on. That's what happens. Everybody hands on belly. Feel your breathing. It's starting to settle again. Just feeling your breathing. All of the agitation. It's happening. Agitated with all sorts of...
I think it's really wonderful.
This is the result.
I liked it. I like doing the prompts. I like doing friendly wishes because I could, every time I did friendly wishes, I would change the person, and it would make me feel better.
So we talk about loving kindness.
Do you think the whole world would be a better place if even adults could send out friendly wishes every once in a while?
Probably, yeah, I think. Because it is really, the world would be a better place because when adults and kids always do friendly wishes, like, and always think about everyone, the world would be better because there would be no fights or no violence. Before, my sisters used to always get me mad real quickly, and now since Annika and Susan and Jenny taught me how to control it and breathe and relax myself, I really enjoy it because now, since like in the beginning of when we first started doing this, I was really not into it, except now since I started practicing at home, I got more into it, and I learned how to control it. If everybody knows how to do it, when someone's trying to get in a fight or something, they'll breathe, and then they wouldn't cause any danger or arguments anymore.
When I first started, when I put my hands on my stomach, and when I breathe, my hands feel weird in my stomach. I kind of feel like my organs extend, and at first I didn't feel comfortable, but when I got used to it, I felt better in it, and sometimes I do it at home when I'm angry and I can't stop getting mad, so I just go to my room and lock the door and tell my brothers to get out of the room, and I just feel my breathing. So when I get mad, I don't know how to calm myself, but when I'm finally doing inner kids, I found a way to calm myself and be relaxed, and when I get angry, I could learn how to be happy again.
So this is what happened in America, and it is now really booming, and every school is really calling for this kind of classes. So that is for the kids. So similarly, I think some of you already seen this one, but I'll just play it briefly, is that again, I tried this new methodology, actually, new theory, which is totally new theory, I have to say that. Because in the West, they have a theory called cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, which means that if you have a problem with, let's say that you're addicted to the wine, for example, alcohol, and then if you go through this kind of program, it can let you stop. It can avoid the drinking habit, but it is not sure that you can keep it for long, or maybe you will go for another substance. Instead of alcohol, you will for the drug or whatever it is. So that is the Western idea of approach. So I developed from that idea to develop to when I think of the Buddhism as Angulimala. Why the Angulimala? By one simple word, he can transform that killer. By one word, why a Patajara who lost her child and lost everyone, by one word, dear sister, Buddha can transform her totally. So I thought that, why can't we have a new theory? So I developed a theory called cognitive transformation therapy. Cognitive transformation therapy. It's totally new in the world. And then I tried this with my inmates in the jail. And then I tried the Thai jails, and then it worked 100% well. I can transform those people who are the drug-related crime. First, they said that the society is a problem, economic is a problem, so and so. But after they took through my course, they said that they are the problem. And they were able to say that. He said that if you go back and if you go to the normal world, what will you do? And how can you avoid that? And then they are already out of the jail now. This is our 2 years, but I'm still following them. And out of 20, I'm glad to say that they are still safe.
Samadhi